They don't know why you stay in their head. But you do. Every choice bends toward you. Every thought circles back. They turn the page. And there you are. They walk into a room, and the silence reminds them of you. They don't want it, but they carry it. Like a shadow that clings even when the light is gone. It isn't logic. It isn't planned. It's infection. A thought they can't kill. A presence they can't name. They tell themselves to stop. But the mind refuses. The loop restarts. And you remain. It isn't love. Love is gentle. Love forgives. Love fades when distance grows. This isn't that. It isn't fear either. Fear runs hot, then burns out. Fear keeps people away. But this pulls them closer. It gnaws. It scratches. It lingers like smoke in their lungs. Every time they try to exhale, it returns heavier. They can't sleep. They can't rest. They replay your last word, your last look, searching for meaning. Not because they want to, but because they must. That is obsession. A force sharper than love, more permanent than fear. The kind of force that bends the soul without asking. Obsession isn't attraction. Attraction is surface. A glance, a smile, a moment. Obsession digs deeper. It rewires. When someone is obsessed, they remake their life around you. They wake with you already waiting in their mind. They change their tone, soften their edges, sharpen their words. They shift their habits. The music they play, the clothes they choose, the places they visit, all rewritten by your presence. Not because you demanded it, because they can't help it. They orbit without realizing. Every step adjusted, every move pulled off balance. It feels voluntary, but it isn't. It's gravity, a private law of nature, and you are the center. And here's the truth. You never gave them much. That's the secret. Obsession grows not from abundance, but from absence. Not from answers, but from silence. Not from what you hand them, but from what you hold back. You think giving more will make them stay. It doesn't. Flood them with attention, and you drown desire. Drown desire, and curiosity dies. Comfort kills hunger. But uncertainty lights the fire. A delayed reply. A glance that could be warmth or calculation. A silence that runs longer than comfort allows. Now they wonder. Now they ache. The mind hates open loops. It needs resolution. But you give none, so they keep circling, again and again, until the circle itself becomes a cage. 1. The fire of uncertainty. Flood them with attention. You kill curiosity. Give too much, and they settle. They lean back. They feel safe. And safe is the death of desire, but starve them just slightly. And something new begins. A fire they don't understand. They stare at their phone. Why hasn't the reply come? Was it something I said? Did they lose interest? Did they ever care? That doubt grows teeth. It gnaws at them when they wake. It whispers at them when they fall asleep. You don't need to do much. One unanswered message, one unfinished glance, one silence held too long. The brain hates puzzles. It loops back again and again, searching for resolution. You don't provide it. You never close the loop. You remain unsolved. And the unsolved becomes obsession. Not because you shine brighter, but because you remain unclear. Obsession is a sickness born from uncertainty, and you become the disease they secretly want. 2. Fragments, not wholeness. Never give them the whole picture, only fragments, pieces sharp enough to wound, but never enough to heal. Show ambition once, then retreat into calm silence. Reveal a flicker of softness, then cover it in ice. Offer intensity, then pull back into stillness. They will wonder, which one is real? Which one is the truth? They never find the answer, because the answer keeps shifting. That's how you hold them. The mind obsesses not over what it knows, but what it almost knows. You become that almost. A riddle they can't stop working on. A half-finished sentence they replay 1,000 times. You give them just enough to imagine, never enough to confirm. And so they return, again and again. Not because you gave them everything, but because you never did. Third reinforcement. Warmth, then cold. Praise, then nothing. Pull close, then disappear. Never in rhythm, never predictable. This is how the brain gets hijacked. The same way gamblers stay hooked. Not by winning every time, but by winning sometimes. The irregular reward rewires the system. It builds loops that never close. They keep checking their phone, scrolling through your words, rereading your pauses, waiting for the next hit. It isn't love. It isn't comfort. It's hope. And hope, once weaponized, is more addictive than love ever was. Because love ends in certainty. Hope never ends. It stretches forever, always dangling, always just out of reach. And the longer it dangles, the deeper the hook. You don't reward them often. You reward them enough. A smile at the right time. A word that feels like sunlight. Then darkness. That cycle becomes the cage, and they chain themselves to it. 4. Touching the wound. Everyone carries wounds. Most keep them buried. Abandonment, rejection, shame. Scars they hide with laughter, with noise, with masks. You don't create those wounds. You don't need to. They're already there, waiting. All you do is touch them. Not cruelly, not with judgment, simply with silence, with listening, with the kind of attention that says, I see the part of you no one else sees. That's when obsession deepens, because now you're not just a person. You're a medicine. You're the only place the wound doesn't hurt. With you, the storm quiets. Without you, it roars. And that contrast is unbearable. They will do anything to keep the quiet, to keep the healing. But here's the cruelty. You never truly heal them. You just slow the bleeding, enough to keep them needing you. This isn't love. This is dependence dressed as devotion, and dependence is stronger than desire. 5. The maze. Demand and they resist. Provoke and they chase. That is the difference. You don't beg for loyalty. You create a maze. They walk it willingly. One day you're warm, the next day you're stone. One moment you praise, the next, silence. They keep asking, which one is the truth? Did I do something wrong? Did I lose them? The maze deepens. Every step they take, you add another wall. They'll spend days replaying your words, nights dissecting your glances, looking for the exit, looking for the answer. But there is no exit. There is no answer. And here's the cruel trick. They don't even want the exit anymore. They want the maze itself. They crave the confusion, because confusion means you're still there, still watching, still guiding. They stop seeking clarity. They start seeking you, and the maze becomes their religion. 6. Timing. Timing is power. Not the words, not the gifts, not the promises. Just when you show up, and when you don't. Leave a story unfinished. Leave a message hanging. Walk away at the height of laughter. Close the door while they're still reaching. That's when the echo begins. The echo is louder than presence. They replay what you didn't say. They imagine what you might have meant. They ache to finish the conversation. But you never finish. You leave them suspended. A question unanswered. A thread uncut. They wake at night with the weight of it. They scroll back through your words. They chase a ghost you left in mid-sentence. That is timing, a weapon sharper than touch. 7. Scarcity. Scarcity makes gods. The rare becomes sacred. The scarce becomes priceless. So you become scarce. Your time never free. Your attention never casual. Your approval never cheap. Each appearance must feel earned. Each word must feel like gold. You don't flood. You drip. You don't give. You let them steal, or think they did. This makes them hunger. This makes them guard you. They tell others, I know them, I understand them. But even they know it's a lie. They don't understand. They never will. That gap between what they want to know and what you reveal is the space where obsession grows. You become the treasure, the one they can't lose, the one they can't afford to replace. 8. Withdrawal. Affection builds closeness. Withdrawal builds chains. So you withdraw. Not cruel, not final. Just enough to unbalance. They lean in. You step back. They grow steady. You shake the ground. Confusion is stronger than rejection. Rejection gives closure. Confusion leaves scars. You don't vanish completely. You fade, a slower drift, a colder tone, a delay too long to ignore. They don't hate you. They miss you. They question themselves. Did I say too much? Did I push too far? Did I lose what was never mine? That loop runs on repeat, and the loop deepens the hook. Obsession isn't born from cruelty. It's born from gentle wounds, cuts that never bleed, scars that never heal. You are the question mark they can't erase, and so they rewrite themselves again and again, trying to earn back what was never given. 9. Anchors. Every myth leaves symbols. Every presence leaves marks. So do you. A phrase only you use. A tone only you carry. A gesture burned into memory. Tiny anchors planted deep in the subconscious. Now, when they hear the phrase elsewhere, they think of you. When they see the gesture, they feel you. When silence falls, your voice fills it. You move from person to presence, from human to haunting. They see you in strangers. They hear you in echoes. They feel you in empty rooms. This is how obsession lingers, not in the body, not in the flesh, but in the mind. You don't walk beside them. You live inside them, and they cannot evict you. But thou the indity. Here is the cruel truth. They don't crave you. They crave themselves, the version of themselves you created. Around you, they feel sharper, bolder, more alive, more desired. You gave them a glimpse of that person. Now they can't return to who they were. Every time they step away, they shrink. So they return. Not for you, for the mirror you hold. You don't say it outright. You plant it. You're the only one who gets this side of me. I don't trust many. But with you, it's different. Now they protect the role. Because losing you means losing the identity you gave them. That's obsession. Not chained to you, but chained to themselves. The self they only see with you. People protect mirrors like they protect their own skin. You become the mirror. They become the reflection. And together, the loop tightens. 11th, fear of loss. Fear drives deeper than desire, so you create fear. Not hatred, not anger, but the soft panic of absence. You never say, I'll leave. You let them feel it. A pause too long, a tone too cold, a retreat too sudden. They tighten their grip. They guard you like fragile glass. They obey without commands, because they fear losing what feels sacred. And what feels sacred cannot be replaced. You are no longer a person. You are a privilege. A rare wine, a sip, a taste, never the bottle. And once they know the taste, they will fear the drought forever. 12th silent laws. You don't demand rules, you become the rule. Silence replaces orders. Mystery replaces explanations. They begin to self-correct. They notice what pleases you. They erase what displeases you, not because you told them, because they fear losing what you withhold. You don't punish. You reward selectively. Warmth when they align. Ice when they drift. Soon they no longer chase affection. They chase approval. They don't seek your love, they seek your standard. This is the highest form of control. When your presence is law. When your silence is judgment. When your absence is terror. You no longer need to act. You simply are. And that is enough. Closing. People don't obsess over people. They obsess over mirrors. You hold the mirror. They see themselves in it. Not the broken self, not the ordinary self, but the self sharpened by your presence. More confident, more alive, more dangerous. They fight to keep that reflection. They fight to keep you. Because without you, the mirror cracks. The image fades. They go back to who they were, and that feels like death. So they cling, they adjust, they bend. Not because you ask, because they can't risk losing the self you gave them. This is the final chain. Not iron, not rope. Identity. And identity never breaks. But you never give them certainty. You never give them the ending. Stories that end are stories buried. They get remembered for a week, then forgotten. Closure kills obsession. So you deny it. You keep the story open, unfinished, suspended. You leave futures half described. Someday you'd love it if. You remind me of what could be. You never finish the promise. You never close the door. They replay the possibilities. What if it had happened? What if it still could? What if I was the one and lost it? These questions live longer than facts. And you live inside those questions. That's why you never end the story. You let it breathe forever. That's how you stop being a person. That's how you become a myth. A shadow they can't escape. A ghost they never want to lose. You let absence do the work. You let silence speak louder than explanation. You let mystery replace confession. They argue over you. They defend you. They build versions of you that never existed. And they believe them. You don't correct them. You don't explain. You let the legend grow. Because stories outlive presence, and myths outlive stories. This is the highest power. Not to be loved, not to be feared, but to be remembered. You become larger than flesh, larger than truth. You become what they tell others in whispers, what they replay alone at night. And when that happens, when you've left the world of facts and entered the world of memory, you no longer need to chase. You are chased. Forever.